to Vishal Manchanda as well, right, who's Pharma Analyst at Systematix, who is joining us now on the show. Vishal, good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining in. You just heard Ekta on this news flow that has come in for Zydus. How negative do you see this as a development for Zydus based on the news that you just heard?
Hi, good afternoon. I think so. This was, as Ekta said, this was supposed to take care of the post-Revlimid decline that was anticipated in FY27. So now with this drug getting pushed to FY30, there is nothing that Zydus can fill up with. While they obviously can leverage their cash position to acquire something to kind of fill the hole that Revlimid would leave. But we have to wait and see how they do that. And again, Revlimid is so replacing Revlimid is a challenge because that was a high value opportunity. I think so for someone to replace Revlimid. So say if Revlimid was a $100 million drug, to replace that they would need something around $600 million or more on top line, because margins is something that we also need to understand. Revlimid was a very high margin product. So a very uphill task, and the task has become a bit more difficult for them now.
Vishal, any numbers in terms of what the anticipated revenue was from this particular cancer drug FY27 onwards?
So I think this was a $1.6 billion top line opportunity for the innovator. So assuming the exclusivity would have been triggered in that year, they would have got 6 months of exclusive position. It would have been a meaningful product. They could have added about almost $250 million on top line for the combined entities, Zydus and MSN, and then there would have been a margin flow. So since this was a partnered opportunity, my sense is the margins would not have been comparable to Revlimid, but much lower, say maybe around 25-30% at best.
Okay. The other news is on Strides, their OneSource business, which will eventually be listed by the first half of next calendar year, is going to see some amount of fundraising, a pre-IPO fundraise. What is your reading of that? 800 odd crores, and the pre-equity valuation is 1.65 billion.
Right. So I think OneSource is into an exciting space. So they are into contract development and manufacturing, plus they are also into biologics. They are doing something around GLP-1s also on the contract manufacturing side. So I think all of this put together, there is all of these requires humongous funding, because as we know, these assets, biological assets, will require immense amount of investment in terms of the fixed cost, the upfront capital cost. So the valuations are encouraging at $1.6 billion. So a significant premium to the last valuation they had, around $900 million is where they had pegged the valuation to be. But I think there's a long runway from here in terms of the monetization of the opportunities. We'll have to be patient and also be aware of the risks that go along such investments.
Quickly, if you can tell us, why is most of pharma down? Is there fear of maybe the US elections, what comes out of any kind of Medicare pricing, which we've discussed some time ago with regards to generic pricing, or do you think that there's just profit booking because of the kind of run-up that we've seen?
I think there is some amount of caution that is setting into the sector. We are also seeing some. We have always been seeing. I think the sector has been witnessing good news for quite some time. Now I think with this, this Zydus news flow is a bit negative, and we have to be aware. The US will always be volatile in terms of the development. We'll see both sides. We'll see some very exciting development, and we'll see things going the other way around. Even compliance is something that's not getting factored into the price right now. So I would say the prices currently were on the optimistic side. There is some caution setting in now, and I think it's better the price is correct and there is the risk reward becomes favorable then.
All right, Vishal, thanks a lot for sparing time and telling us your views on the stocks in the pharma space that's in the news. Well, no amount of time is enough to discuss pharma, such a broad gamut at the sector that it is. But we have to call time on this conversation for sure. We take a short break here on Halftime Report and back with more buzzing stocks on the other side. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.